Hello, this video is not sponsored. I bought this set for $30 US on Amazon, although since then I've seen that you should be able to get it for $25 to $26, including on Amazon. The name of the company, apologies if I pronounce this wrong. Let's look at it. I believe it's Wange.
They want a Wange.
Or something close to that, at least in Americanized form. You can also find it under other brand names, like a bunch of other brand names, but pretty much if you see this exact same set here, it's the same thing that's just been reboxed by other companies. I believe that Wange is the original manufacturer of it though. And this is a set that has some features that I found to be particularly interesting and fascinating, something that I've been looking forward to seeing in the brick building world for quite a while now. And this provides it in quite significant amounts. First of all, if you're familiar with brick-based stuff, you will immediately notice that this is a custom piece here. As a matter of fact, the more you look at it, you can see that this is a custom piece here. This is actually a custom piece. That's a custom piece. This is a custom piece down here at the base. This is a custom piece. Like, this has some serious custom parts on it, some specialized parts that are really on it. I mean, these back here, this section right here, this section right here, the tail. This is stuff that's not just kind of specialized. This is stuff that is absolutely specialized to this specific set. Now, I recognize and acknowledge that a lot of people hate that. A lot of people can't stand that, think that that is a lazy thing, that kind of ruins the whole idea of something being brick-based. But I would ask that you consider opening your mind just a little bit if you're in that group, and consider that some people like stuff to be a little bit more realistic and don't care as much about the novelty of brick building. They want something that they can put together themselves without having to go through the process of doing a full plastic model where you've got to paint everything, where you got to, cut everything out, sand everything, glue everything. And it can take weeks, potentially months to get a really nice result, at least multiple days, and lots of mess, to get something that looks nice. Or, you got to go with the toy route. This allows you, this approach allows an average consumer to get something that looks nice, and yet it's brick built and thus, very accessible. Anybody can do it. But the way that this company accomplished that was something that I've never experienced before in the brick-based world. All of the set-specific exclusive parts come on runners or sprues or trees, just like from a normal plastic model, whether snap style like the Gundams that I'm always building on Twitch, or traditional plastic models that you actually have to glue and paint. So at the end of the day, you're left with all of this waste material, and you do need to cut the parts off. Those specialized parts need to be cut off so that you can use them. Coming back to the box, it shows that right here. There's your hint that that's going to be in there. But I do fear that some of the sellers of this and retailers don't really call that out as a major thing, because it's, for folks who build brick-based stuff, they're not used to that at all, including when you get specialized parts. They're usually just in the box and you just push them together normally. They've got studs on top. These do have studs, in this case, on the underside as well as on the top. But there is a lot of risk that people just won't notice that is something that, you need to deal with. And it's all about setting expectations. So I would definitely expect there to be a lot of returns and a lot of negative feedback from just regular consumers who feel like they're duped when they buy something like this. I think that it's a perfectly legitimate approach, and being able to get something that's this large for $25 shipped, all told, like, that's significant. That's a lot of stuff. And I think it's a perfectly fine compromise. When it comes to compromises, one of the other things here that many people won't like is the use of stickers. So this does use clear backed stickers for all of the details. The stickers aren't too bad. They're not perfect. Like, I didn't put too much care into putting them in. I didn't use the Windex method or water or anything like that. I just put them directly on. They seem to be fine. However, some of them do cross multiple pieces. And I know that there's a group of people who understandably don't like that because it makes it difficult to reuse the parts. But this is for folks who just want to put this together and then have it on display. Like most people out there, just build their brick-based sets and put them on display. And then that's the end of it. The overwhelming majority of people never take their sets apart to turn them into other things. It's a very small group. So again, I think this is completely valid. It has space on the market, But setting expectation is a really important thing, and they might have done a poor job of that here. At the end of the day, I do feel like this is a really nice model. I'm happy with it, but there are a few things that I personally was not happy with. And one of them is this thing that is just flopping all around down here right now. The main gun, because it uses just a 2x2 turntable, which has no friction in it. And so it's able to just flop around. Yeah, could have used a little bit more detail as well, but the main thing is just this doesn't feel good to me. Also, you notice that this might look a little bit weird with the cone right there. And you might notice just a little bit of uneven texture on the bar part of this. You're supposed to, per the instructions, you're supposed to move this cone all the way down to the base and it'll look better at that time. But when I tried to do that, it got stuck. And I thought, okay, that's because of poor quality of this piece right here, right? It's built wrong. And on a whim, I decided to check with the exact same parts from the Danish brand. I just wanted to confirm that the problem is with Wange. And what do you know? Those lock up as well. I tried it on several sets of these with parts. Actually, this is the different style right here. You can see there's a little bit of difference, but this is the exact same style here. It's a little bit longer one. I think it's 6 long versus 6.7 long or something like that. But yeah, there's an issue between these with the type of plastic that's used and the, gosh dang it. The shapes in there. It needed to be shaped a little bit wrong. There should have been gaps around the corners, and ultimately that combination of parts just doesn't work. That doesn't excuse these guys here just because the leading brand had the same or has the same problem. It should have been tested and they should have just come up with a different design. Next up, while I was putting this together, I was rushing too much. I was being careless with it. I fully admit that this is at least 90% my fault. I broke one of these tail rotor blades off. It's actually 2, so you get 2 opposed rotors, and then there's an identical piece that locks in, so it becomes a 4-bladed thing. But because they use the same piece rotated 180 degrees, you can see that the tips are shaped differently. So, you know, one of these pairs is facing the right direction. That's a tiny little thing, a nitpick, but something worth calling out. But they are actually, when it glued up, it didn't glue up all that perfectly. You see, it was this one right here. I just simply used plastic cement and put it back together. So it's okay now, but yeah, I did break that, and it is a fairly thin piece in there, relatively easy to break off compared to other things. If you weren't being super careless with it, like I was, putting a ton of pressure on that, you would not have broken it, but it is a potential weak point. And then one other small thing, you see that these missiles here have the little yellow piece on the end, and one of them doesn't. One of them just didn't quite have enough friction in it. And the problem was the black part of the missile, not the yellow part. And there are 2 additional missiles included with the kit, and both of those worked just fine. So just a small quality issue there, just consistency issue there. Obviously, if they didn't include these spares, I could have just, again, used a tiny bit of glue, or even simply scratched, or I just put a little score through the end to create a little bit of additional friction. But this is something that was worth calling out because it was an issue. In this case, it's not really an issue because they include the extras, but I did want to not sweep it under the rug. I actually kind of like how they attach this as well. So you got the cross member piece there, the X-shaped piece. And down here, this is using a inverted plate. So it has 2 studs on the other side. Let me see if I can just grab that off of there right now. Well, there's the piece. This was just really interesting to me. If we can get it to focus today, that would be awesome. Yes, there we go. Yep. Oh, my bad. So there's 2 studs there. And then this is the width of a half of a plate. And that is a slot that's a half of a plate. And this X piece has half plate plates as well, half plate thickness planes, and all that just sticks together. It's kind of a little subsystem that they're using there. I just found it to be interesting. Last thing, Canopy looks so nice, right? You know, it's a big shame. Can't put minifigures in there. Standard style minifigures, they don't fit. I tried it. it's just a little bit too tight in there. That's such a shame. Now I realize that they went for accuracy to, per the overall proportions here, but not being able to put figures in there is definitely a big, big miss. There might be a way to customize it instead of using regular legs, put just a single 1x2 plate in place of each leg and just have the whole figure sitting down a little bit lower. That might give it enough clearance, because it's the arms hit on the sides and or the head. So the whole thing feels like it needs to be lowered down. There might be some way to kind of hack it, but really it should have been designed in a way to allow these figures to simply be placed in there. Just any standard-ish style of figures by just using a lower floor in there. So that's definitely a miss, especially considering that they did use some very specialized, like kit-specific parts for this. Otherwise, so I think I've called out all the things that I don't like about this now. And I think I called out the main things that I do like about it. Following the instructions was otherwise fine. It does have some parts that I have not personally seen before in the shapes of them that are useful for other things other than just this one kit. And I really like the hydro tubes here. That's something that you rarely see. Usually that's going to be done with, at best, a print, normally just a sticker. At worst, absolutely nothing right there. So you have no detail on the end, typically with military models. So those are the options. So it's really nice to get one that actually has the suggestion of the tubes within there, although this is a hollow piece. So from the underside, it doesn't look good. From most angles, it looks good. But if you hang this from a ceiling, you can see all these undersides of plates, which don't look great. And you're also going to see that. But from most angles, again, yeah, it was pretty nice. Again, stickers over multiple pieces, stickered there. These are stickers as well. But I'm probably going to put a little bit more effort into this. I'm probably going to swap this out, do a separate video with just slight modifications to this, because I also personally don't like the shine. It's just so shiny. I mean, the part quality otherwise it felt fine putting everything together. But the shine just doesn't go with a military theme, right? So I'm probably going to go ahead and swap this out here and then swap this out, maybe add a little bit more detail and take the Canopy glass out, give this a top coat, just like I did with a couple of my other kits that I've reviewed on this channel. Give it a top coat of matte clear to just take all that sheen, all that shininess, all that plastic look away. Very, very cheap. You can spend a couple dollars worth of clear paint and make this look a lot better. I'll clearly call that out as a separate thing. It has no relation to the review whatsoever. It should not influence, whether you think that this is a good value or anything. This is what it is. This is what you buy. This is what you get. These were the only leftover pieces that I had, and it's nice to see what I've called stud piece. It's just a little insert that you place into the bottom of plates to allow you to have basically studs in place of anti-studs where desired. And then this is what the sticker sheet looked like. These stickers right here are supposed to go on the rocket launcher tubes, and I just didn't put them there because, that's just not classy. It's just kind of weak. I just left them off. But this is the size of the sticker sheet, and the material is fine. Again, clear backed, even though this is a paper backing behind all of it. They come off with clear edges. For a price of $25, $26, or even $30 if you overpaid like I did, this is a great amount of stuff, and it's a nice looking machine to just put on a shelf or hang from ceiling a little bit, although not too far up, have it suspended down a bit so that you can see it more from the side. It's just a nice looking thing, and did not require what I would have had to invest to make a plastic model. And honestly, you don't get a lot of plastic models that are of this larger scale. It's actually pretty rare, and they tend to be very expensive, not to mention all the work and all the materials that are involved. But as a brick-based thing, it doesn't have as much of that pure brick building experience that a lot of people have come to desire. So hopefully I've at least shown you what you get with this. It had a few small quirks and issues as well. Hopefully I've shown you exactly what you get here, and you can come to your own conclusion. There are a bunch of other things made, other military vehicles and civilian vehicles made by this same company. I'm sure they do other stuff as well. I'm sure that I will cover more of them in the future because I've not been turned off to this brand by my experience with it. Quite the contrary. I personally, as just a hobbyist myself, like leave all the content creation out of it. I personally found this to be fascinating. I think it's so cheap too, and easy. I really look forward to customizing. I'm going to customize it a little bit because I like it personally to that degree that I want to actually invest more of my time into it, which is worth even more than money. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope this video brought some value to you and helped to cover things that you might not have known just based on official pictures and description and everything. So I will talk to you again soon. Bye for now.
They wanna Wanga.
My.